So I got a new haircut finally. It's bouncy and curlier and magical. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dani Marie AUC, and today's topic is all about my college and university must-haves. And I know this year's classes are gonna look a little bit different, but these must-haves can generally fit for both online and in-person classes. Let's jump in. If you've been enjoying my content and you want to show your support, you can subscribe to my channel, like, and share my videos, and that's really going to help me out. This video is going to generally be geared at those who have a visual impairment but still retain some of their vision, and that's just because that is where my expertise is. So through people I've met recently, I've learned a lot more about screen readers like VoiceOver and Windows Narrator and VDA, JAWS, things like that. But I don't know enough about those things to really give you guys guidance on them yet. But if any of my lovely friends in the blind community who use these kind of resources along with Braille, which I am not super familiar with, feel free to drop links or resources in the comments below, and I will also add those to my website. I have an article titled How Do the Blind Read that is also geared towards many of these topics and many of these things that I'm going to discuss in this video. And it covers some resources, it covers some tips and tricks that I use through my university days, and it has a lot of good stuff for you guys. Feel free to check it out, it'll be linked below. First things first, so whether you are online or in person, you're gonna need a laptop. This is the laptop I currently use. This is a Lenovo Yoga 730. This is a high-end laptop now. This is a 2-in-1 with a touchscreen that folds open just like this. You can use it in many different ways. But I did not get this laptop until I was almost done with school. And I have to say I love it. Highly recommend Lenovo products. Did have to warranty it out for a keyboard issue, but got that taken care of, and it's been working like a champ ever since. But most of my years in school, I used this guy, and it's this lovely bright green color, I know. But this is an Asus laptop. I do not have the product name, but it was under $300. Aside from these two laptops, I have used a MacBook, I have used a workstation, I have also used one of the very first Chromebooks, and because I have some varied experience with laptops and different price points, I can really tell you that for most of you, for what you're doing with school, with university, you can get away with using a budget laptop. You can use a hand-me-down laptop if you clean it up and take care of it. You can definitely use a laptop under $500 to do almost any of the schoolwork related things that you're going to be doing. Now, the only exceptions for this are if, say, you're an engineering student, you're going to be using like visual heavy programs like CAD, or if you're going to be a design student and you're going to be using maybe video editing software and things like that, you might need a slightly higher end laptop for those. But if you're one of those students, you probably already know that. Whichever operating system you go with, Windows or OS, the two main ones, you are going to have a variety of accessibility resources that are going to help you out. So you have Magnifier, Windows Narrator, and more on Windows, and then you have Zoom and VoiceOver and much more on Mac. Both of these are going to have settings where you can enlarge the font, you can enlarge the display size, like the resolution. You essentially lower the resolution, it makes images on the screen bigger. They're going to have the ability to change your cursor size and your color. You're going to be able to turn on contrast modes and even a reverse contrast, which a lot of people are a fan of. And you're going to have various color filters and things like that. So I'm here to tell you whichever operating system you go with is going to have accessibility that's going to be able to meet your needs. Now, some people are more of a fan of one or the other, and that's fine. Some people also utilize programs that can only be used on one or the other, and that's also fine. But just know, if you can't afford that ridiculously overpriced MacBook, it's okay. I can't either. Also, for those who have less vision and utilize a screen reader, on both platforms you can utilize things like Zoom Text, JAWS, NVDA, and who knows what else. Like I said, that is not my area of expertise, but the resources are out there, and if you guys need help finding them, let me know. I will be glad to help. So next we need to address textbooks. This is just a random physical paper textbook. And for those who do prefer physical textbooks, a handheld magnifier like this is gonna be amazing. So this is the Eschenbach Smartlux. This is a pretty expensive little gadget, but it has different color modes, different levels of zoom, different ways you can utilize the stand that's built in, like you can prop it up at an angle to write with. Aside from this one, I've also used the Ruby, which is another very popular one. It's the one I used was smaller than this Eschenbach. For all the details on this thing, I actually have a review on my website that I will link below for the size details, the different features, and you can see photos of me utilizing the different features and things like that. So go check that out if you're interested. The next things you can utilize are handheld magnifiers. This is a handheld magnifier with a light. Hopefully you can see that just fine. These are super great, plus they don't run on a battery other than the battery required for the light. So that makes them a little bit more reliable. Oh, I definitely just snapped the handle off of it. Okay. Next we have, this is a line magnifier. This essentially, just like it sounds, goes over a line of text and you move it down as you go. And here, let me get this over some actual text. And it adds just a little bit of magnification for you. These are pretty good, honestly. I think these are pretty functional. See, I just whacked myself in the glasses with them. Typical. I just have one like this. This one does not have batteries in it, but same idea. It does have a light on it, but you generally just hold it over the page, and this one doesn't have that much magnification on it, but you can find all kinds of magnifiers at different magnification levels, different styles of lights and things like that. They are definitely out there. And there's a variety for you to choose from depending on your needs and your preferences. Next, one thing I really recommend is to go with ebooks, and that's just because they're so customizable. Let's set this back here. So with ebooks, you can generally find most of your textbooks on various platforms. That can include Google Books, Apple Books, Amazon Kindle, and other various sources. So I often had to use Barnes & Noble's textbook app, which is called Yuzu, and I hated it when I first used it, but the more I used it, I got more comfortable with it and realized it had some pretty good features. So I used that one, and if you have to use that one, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. For those stubborn books you cannot find in ebook format, but you still have to read, of course you can use the tools that I've just pointed out. But another option, and I have definitely used this one, is the Adobe Scan app. It is available for both iOS and Android, and it lets you use your smartphone's camera as a digital scanner. And then when it scans it, it doesn't just load the picture up. It actually loads a high contrast version of the picture. So the paper ends up being very white, the text ends up being very dark, And also it has OCR built in, which means that if you import that PDF into a PDF reader that has text-to-speech, it will be able to read that text to you. Very important feature. We're going to touch on that in a minute. But I have absolutely scanned an entire textbook with my phone because I was struggling to keep up with reading that I needed to do otherwise. So I took the time to scan it, and it really helped me a lot. So sometimes we have to put in a little effort beforehand, but it's so worth it. Next, audiobooks. So many of the visually impaired and blind community members love audiobooks, and I used to hate them because they used to put me to sleep. Okay, they still do a little bit, but they really save my vision so much. Especially lately, I've been struggling a lot with eye strain, so audiobooks or text-to-speech has really helped me out. So you can request your textbooks in audio format. You can also utilize text-to-speech, as I mentioned earlier. There are several readers that I know for sure have built-in text-to-speech. Text-to-speech is a little weird. If you're not used to using a screen reader, or if you're tired of listening to your screen reader all day, you might hate text-to-speech. It took me a while to get used to it, but once I did, I could listen to a book so fast and still click with everything that was going on in it. It's not the same because even though I'm visually impaired, am a very visual learner. So for me, seeing physically the text helps me remember things, and also writing the text and seeing it that way, which is both tactile and visual, also helps me retain information. So the struggle is real. I will link these resources below, but book readers that have a read aloud feature or a built-in text-to-speech feature include Google Books, Apple Books, and one of my favorites, Moon Plus Reader, which is available on both Android and Apple. Moon Plus will also read PDFs, so that's fantastic. On Windows or Mac, you can download Adobe Acrobat Reader DC, specifically that one, not the touchscreen version, will read PDFs to you. Now, like I said, there are links to all of these things and resources and even more information in the article that will be linked below for you guys, so check it out. Another great resource for textbooks and reading in general is bookshare.org. So this is also in the article I mentioned, but Bookshare is a site with the goal to provide reading to those with print disabilities, and that includes people with visual impairment. It also includes dyslexia and other learning disabilities as well. Bookshare is free if you're a student and have a student email. It is $50 a year if you do not. The way to sign up for Bookshare is that you have to get someone to fill out a form basically stating that you have one of the disabilities that qualifies you to access the program. And there's a wide variety of people who can fill this form out. It's a really simple one-page form, and someone with like a voc rehab counselor can fill it out, a TBI can fill it out, a counselor, like a school counselor, a doctor, of course, can fill it out. But you have options. And also, like I said, that is linked below, so check it out for more information. Bookshare has ebook formats, including EPUB and Amazon Kindle's format. It also has audiobooks. If you have a library card, you can also utilize a resource called Libby. This is basically an online app for both Android and iOS that lets you insert your library card information and check out audiobooks and ebooks on your phone. It is fantastic. I can't get it to work here where I'm at, but you probably have more luck than I will. If you are in in-person classes, or you're reading stuff across the room, either way, I recommend a Monocular. So this is my favorite one. This is a Vortex branded Monocular. I have two Vortex Monoculars because they're made so well. I love them, but they're not the most compact. So this is a 10 by 25. The first number 10 lets you know that it has a bigger viewing angle than your typical 8 bys. And that means it lets in more light, and like I said, it has a wider area of view when you look through the scope. 25, for the second number tells you the focus distance. And 25 is really good for indoors. So if you're looking at a board and you're in even like small to like fairly large classrooms, this is going to be the size to go with for me. I also have, this is one of my old ones. You can see the sort of range of portability. So this one works pretty good. This is an 8x25 or an 8x20, I think. Honestly, the label's rubbed off, so I have no idea, but it's an 8x20 or 25. Super portable. It works really well, but it's not my favorite. You can hear it rattle. I don't love that, honestly. But this was given to me, I think, by Voc Rehab probably, or one of the other resources I have utilized. Another one I have is, this is a much bigger one. This is a 10x35. Now, the 35 gives you a wider focal length. I mean, a longer focal length. Basically, that means bigger rooms, outdoor events, arenas. I have used this in concerts not near the front of an arena, but they're fantastic. They're way better than a whole set of binoculars where you're holding something that's even heavier than this up for a long period of time. But these aren't for small classrooms. The 35, the 10x35 is definitely not for a small classroom. The next thing I don't have here, but a good set of headphones or earbuds. You're gonna need that, especially for online classes. And even for in-person classes, between classes, if you're stuck on campus for a while, a good playlist and a set of headphones is so good. But I've used anything from the super cheap earbuds or the kind that come with your phone to expensive headphones, and honestly, though of course if you're listening to music you're gonna get what you pay for, but get whatever goes with your budget and fits your style, because even the cheap ones do the job. Also, don't forget a good playlist, because music for me really helps with anxiety between classes, or it helps entertain me. It also helps to block out distractions. So for me, a good playlist, very chill, non-distracting, really helped me study and helped me deal with my own things that I had going on. You guys know what I'm talking about. So this is a weird one, but this is a sleep mask. And it's really just a reminder to give yourself a break, because we like to work long hours. We like to do as much as everybody else, and many of us are overachievers, you know. But our eyes, our visual impairment, our nystagmus, photophobia, and things like that don't always let us work the same as everybody else. So remember to take a break. It's best to actually take small breaks in between working sessions. That way you can keep working for longer without your eyes getting so tired. Because I know me, the more I work on the computer, the more I deal with eye strain, and I definitely hate to take breaks, just like all of you watching this video do right now. I know. But take this seriously. Also, on your computer, reduce glare as much as possible. And that includes your phone too. So turn on night mode, dark theme, dark mode, whatever it's called on your device. And also utilize other tools that are going to help you with this. So one example, if you work in Microsoft Word a lot, go to the Design tab. All the way to the right, there's an option called Paper Color. Change that to black. You are welcome. Also, don't forget to have a calendar. Yeah, this is from 2019. Back when I used calendars. I graduated school in 2019, so this is actually the last paper calendar I bought. But buy something that makes you happy. This has got a very pretty elephant on it, and it's beautiful. But I used a combination of a paper calendar and my phone to help me keep up with assignments and tasks. So the paper calendar is where I would often write down things like homework assignments, big tests and things all got put in here too. Now, I would write down all my assignments in here, all the homework that came up that day, anything big that was due would get written in here. Also, any events that I wanted to do or leisure activities I would also put in here. But for the really big stuff, like the exams and the big assignments that were due, I would also use the calendar on my phone. Electronic calendars are just very customizable. So you can set up your date, you can set reminders for it to remind you whether you needed a month's time or a week or just a few hours to remind yourself that, hey, I'm gonna have an exam this day at this time. It's great. You can color code it, whatever is your style. You can even add a photo, you can invite your friends, whatever it is you can do with an electronic calendar. And it's just very flexible. So other tools I utilized included pens. I really like pens because they're so dark, and every time I go back and look at something and I wrote in pencil at one point, I'm like, why did you write this in pencil? You know you can't read it. But yeah, also bold line paper if that's your thing. You can even write with markers. Just be careful because it definitely will bleed through most papers. Highlighters are good for if I want to point something out. I can usually spot a highlighter mark on a page pretty well. And for marking books, so ignore the actual sticky notes I have in this book, but this here is a tiny green sticky note that is meant to mark pages. They're essentially post-it notes that are small, just sticky, they're not meant to write on, and they don't tear up your pages, but you can use them to mark your pages, you can use them to mark assignments and things. They come in all kinds of colors, so you can color code whatever assignment, study, session, whatever it is that you're working on. And they're a really, really great help. Also, if you happen to already have sticky notes, you can code them with sticky notes. The last thing I wanted to talk about was utilizing resources that might be available to you. So if you're in the US and you have a visual impairment or another disability, you should qualify to utilize the Department of Vocational Rehab. And some of the tools that I've mentioned here, I have gotten through vocational rehab. I have gotten an internship through there. They have helped to pay for my school. They have provided me with, honestly, a lot of little things along the way. And I highly recommend you reach out to the one in your county. There is a department in almost every county. And if there's not, then your state has a main branch that you can reach out to. They will tell you who it is you need to get in touch with. Now, this is especially true right now with everything going on. Many of the smaller branches are closed, but if you contact your state's Department of Vocational Rehab, you should be able to get a hold of someone who can point you in the right direction, tell you which resources you can get right now and who you need to talk to about it. So again, I highly recommend you contact them. There are also other resources. Every school should have a Department of Support Services or whatever your school labels it. I've seen it called many different things. But reach out to them, tell them the accommodations you need. They're going to want some documentation from your doctor or from whoever you have documentation from. So reach out to them. They should get you set up. If you guys want to see more content on some of these topics, some of these smaller topics that I've mentioned in here, let me know. One, I would definitely like to do some more content on laptops and things like that, like the essential choices to make when looking for a laptop. I'd be happy to do that. I am a huge tech nerd and I know quite a lot about computers, especially hardware. That's my area. But I also could do more on ebooks and things like that if you guys are interested. You just let me know. But I think that covers it for today. So thank you guys for watching. And as usual, stay curious. Until next time, bye.